What?
No, I just thought anybody coming on will suddenly they'll come to the beginning of it and have a swear word and think, what's going on?
Fortunately, I pressed record after you said it, Peter, so it's not a problem. Okay, ladies and gents, welcome to this meeting this afternoon. It's a sort of, there's nothing organized because obviously we've covered both of these topics before, hence why I put the links up for you to go and do a bit of homework. Looking at the links over the last couple of days, I know a lot of people have watched those videos again, which is good. And it means that we don't really have to go over it again. So really what I wanted to sort of let this go is for people to ask questions as much as anything else about their thoughts on if they want to run a promotion, if they don't want to run a promotion regarding charity, different things like that. And other things regarding future promotions for the year coming up when we get released. I know Carl's got a couple of ideas which he'll bring to the table, and they're good ideas, but they're not necessarily linked around what we were talking about in the original concept of this particular workshop. So we can talk about that later, but has anybody got any questions on anything that they want, well, hopefully answers that Judith and I or anybody else on here can provide?
So if we're doing charity stuff, is it limited to the guide dogs or can we widen that in any way?
Completely open to what you want to do.
Okay.
What's your thoughts, Peter?
I hadn't gone any further than that. I'd stuck at the dogs, but I was thinking that I might want to do more with families.
So then there's the Lullaby Trust, which we've got the Virgin Media page set up for.
Yeah, okay.
Virgin Money, not Virgin Media.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been contacted by the guide dogs in the last day, and this is relating to those of you that were in RMG. They understand what the situation is and that it's going to cease very soon. And they've said if this happens, it releases for this group to have much more, I don't know what the right word is really, but be more closely linked to the guide dogs like I used to be with RMG. So there wouldn't be any difference really. We would be getting a lot of feedback from them rather than just the association that we would have if RMG was still running. So that is good. Now, the thing about a national charity is the fact that everybody recognizes the logo for those charities, and it's good on that basis. But the other side of it is that if you're doing a local promotion, to pick a charity in your local area that your local people probably know means that you get more sort of marketing on both sides by them and you, your local area. So I don't think necessarily which charity matters, Peter. I think it's the charity that you feel is going to benefit you more from the fact of the public picking up on the name of the charity and the logo and recognizing it so that your promotion is a success, really. That's how I look at it.
I do think with charities, I think for family photos and for children, I think anything to do with either heart, cancer, or awful to say, around children's deaths is your best one. And if it's a local one, then I just think it has that little bit more of a kick than, say, the Heart Foundation or cancer research, something like that. I think if it's a local one, I do think you'll get more back from that charity as well. I think I mentioned the other day, one of the charities that I've linked up with is a bit similar to Lullaby Trust, and they do the bereavement stuff, but they also do the memory boxes and the suites in the hospitals. And every time I post something, I either have somebody that is connected to them will either like it or share it. Whereas if it's a national one, you don't quite get that as much. I mean, the amount of times I've tagged guide dogs and stuff, and I think there's only twice they've only either liked something or commented on it, where the local ones, they will support you as well.
Okay. Because that was one of the things I picked up from Mark's video again, was the power of us doing it nationally to say that we are part of an organisation, or we've been invited, a national organisation, and we're trying to raise £10,000, and it's not like I've got to raise £10,000, but I can use that as a, and I think that's quite powerful.
Yeah,
See,
I agree.
I don't know going forward with RMG going, you know, whether there might be that thing where, I don't know if Alan's already had the conversation, where they might come along and say, right, you've raised £2,500, you can name a guide dog. You know, the way we did to our, there might be that. And if that happens, then I'll tell you now, I'll put my hand on my heart and I'll say straight away, I've got £1,570 towards that. Because that's what I got last year.
Yeah, this is going to come on to something that Carl's going to talk about in a minute, because I know that Carl's, when he finishes his tea and he's come off the black market from selling the vaccines. in the fact that
I just wanted to
go on, Morag.
I was just going to say that I've started a charity promotion idea for my studio. But obviously I've only got another 10 minutes on this call, but if anyone's interested, I can give you a really brief rundown of it.
Carry on.
Yeah, so I'm basically, the thing that's been hitting me the most is the amount of babies that have been born during lockdowns. So I've obviously missed quite a few of my clients, either pregnancy shoots or baby shoots. And I'm part of BNI. I'm going to be leaving soon, but there's been a number of BNI babies that I was supposed to photograph that for one reason hasn't happened this year. So I want to make a promotion instead of sort of like about how bad the year's been, but I will play on that a little bit. There'll be a bit of humour in it. But there's going to be about the babies, about the miracles that have been born during COVID. So I'm going to keep shooting this until COVID sort of stops. But what I want to do is work towards an exhibition at the end and do an exhibition. And at the moment, I've got a working title of Silver Linings for the exhibition. So it's just a little play on words, really, and try and make it into a real celebration of all the new lives that have come out of it. So it means that some of them obviously won't be newborn photograph portraits, but they'll be just babies with I've just priced up the exhibition pretty much. It's going to cost a few grand to put on. But I think I can make that back by offering they're going to be board mounted, quite thin board mounts from Sim, because their prices are very good as well. But I want to be able to sell them back to the participants at the exhibition at a lower rate than I normally would, and £50 then from each sale goes to charity, to try and make it into a real buzz, so that they end up getting tickets for themselves. Hopefully parents or friends will come as well, and it might set another ball rolling to try and do one afterwards, so do another promotion. So I'm still working on all the costings and things, but I think that I would, the way it's going to be advertised, I'll be asking for a registration fee, so either £50 or 99, I'm not sure which yet, but I want to get money up front that then can be used against portraiture, so that I get commitment from everybody. So it'd be working through landing pages and then a Facebook campaign, and then going into landing pages. So that's where I've got to at the moment, but I'm kind of just working on all the landing pages right now.
There's a guy that you'll probably all know, Trevor, is it Ewbury or something? He lives up in Scotland. Yeah. He done something similar a couple of years ago, where I think he had something like 100 people that he photographed. He only took about 5 photographs, but didn't show them the images. Then he chose one from each. Yeah. Had a massive gallery, and on the night sold them the big frame print for £500. There was no bar.
That's pretty much my idea. Yeah. I mean, I will be doing a viewing, because obviously a baby shoot's really important that they do a viewing and make them available to the parents. But I mean, a bit like David Williams used to do them about 15 years ago, these sorts of promotions that led towards an exhibition. And it's the same method that the 50 over 50 and 40 over 40 that lots of people are doing at the moment, where you photograph either 40 people over 40 or 50 over 50 and do an exhibition at the end. So the way that I'm going to be running mine is they won't get a say of what goes into the exhibition or how it's printed or what it looks like. I want to do the look, so it's about my photography. But they'll come for a viewing as normal, do sale as normal, and then the exhibition happens. I mean, with COVID, we don't know when it's going to happen, but it will happen at the end of this period when it's sort of safe and things to do it. And I feel like we've got enough pictures to make it into a real buzz, try and get the press involved, and obviously invite the charity. So it will be a baby charity. I'm actually toying with a couple of charities at the moment, but one of them is a charity that supplies baby clothes, essentials, buggies and stuff to people on really low incomes. And I think linking that back to COVID, you know, and the amount of people that are in real financial hardship now, I think could be a nice twist, because it's all about COVID and then these beautiful babies that are born or brought into life now.
That sounds a great idea. What are you going to do with the pictures from the exhibition? Would you be
Sorry?
trying to sell? What are you going to do with pictures from the exhibition?
Yeah, the idea at the exhibition stage, hopefully that's where I'll make back the money from doing the exhibition, because obviously there's a significant cost in that. I haven't approached any labs yet about asking for discounts when you get it done in bulk, but I've sort of priced it up on the full price at the moment.
So would you do the viewing and the selling after that then?
No, the viewing and the selling would happen after the shoot as normal, because we haven't got a date for the exhibition yet. You can't let people wait that long for baby shoots.
Okay.
So then they get the tickets for the exhibition. And then on the night, they're able to then buy them back, with a £50 of that will go to the charity from each sale. So there's a significant amount raised on the night. And I think it could create quite a buzz for people wanting, but obviously, no, they don't buy them, they invite their parents and things. You're hoping you've got these other people you could sell to as well at that point. But, you know, you'd have to sell at least 50% of the prints in the exhibition. That would be my goal, I think. God knows what I'll do with the rest of them, though.
Okay. I'll quickly cut in there and more, because I know you're going to go in a minute. And I'll say that if more people in a minute come up with they'd like to know more about that, then we can get a quick get together at some time so you can sit down and fully explain that aspect of your,
sure,
if that's all right.
Sure.
So that it's not what we're trying to do here. Welcome to Steve, Richard, and Andy, who obviously have only just got out of bed.
I think we're trying to finding the link, because I've just messaged them the link.
Yeah, I didn't have the link.
I got the link eventually.
Well, hang on a minute. The link's up on the page.
No.
Yeah. But I think rather than you pinning it to the top, I think you made it an announcement, which I don't think puts it at the top.
I couldn't find it. I just clicked on, when you updated it, it notified, and I got it via that.
Yeah,
It's probably my fault, because I asked Alan to pin it to the top, because I was obviously posting stuff about national days and I didn't want the link to go too far down the page.
Okay. Well, I'll say I apologise for that, and gents, that, you know, you haven't just got out of bed, that you couldn't find us, and it's so nice of you to come along. But Morag's leaving now.
About another 3 minutes, I reckon, 4 minutes.
Okay. So you got the gist of what Morag was talking about. So that's a different type of way you can run a promotion for involving charities. I don't think you ought to say for charities, although that's what you need to portray to the charity, and you also need to portray that to the public. But what you're really doing is you're just using it as a vehicle to try and get other people, or different types of people, coming into your studio. I'll go on to two things quickly, and then I want to go to Carl, because Carl's got different ideas as well. Everybody's got ideas than me, and that's brilliant. If you are linked to a national charity, then you can use the large amount of money that's raised by a group of people as one of your marketing tools, which is one of the benefits of being linked in a group to one particular charity. The other thing about it, on a national basis, as there was when we set it up at RMG, is obviously there's one prize, which isn't necessarily put on the table by you individually. It's put on the table by you in some form of way of membership or whatever case. So that's one aspect. That the bonus of a local charity is the fact, obviously, that they will help market your promotion. But if you do it locally, you've got to provide the prizes. Now, obviously, the difference of that is the cost of being involved in something on a national basis, in membership to some group, compared to doing it yourself on a local side. So, that, I think, are the two definitions really between doing it on a national and a local. And I aimed it at you, Peter, so that we're talking to you on the various different things, in the fact of how you want it to run. You will all know now that no matter what way you go, you've got to market it anyway to get the leads to come into you. Now I'll stop there and I'll let Carl come up with his idea in respect to prizes, whether you do this as a large group or individually or so on. Over to you, Carl.
Yeah, so
basically what it simply was, if, for example, we got 10 studios together, we each chipped in £50 for a prize, we got a £500 prize, which was really one of the real catches with the RMG promotions was basically they made a donation to charity, which would still be doing, but we could still offer a cash prize as well. But then I thought maybe we could actually tie it in with something which has a lot more traction in the public sort of forum. And I spoke to Alan yesterday about tying in with Children in Need, because on the run to Children in Need, there's an awful lot of kind of like awareness generated by the BBC. If we raise money together, I think from memory that Children in Need is something like a Just Giving page. So you could actually get your clients to pay directly into that. So we wouldn't have to handle any of the charity money at all. That could simply go straight to the Children in Need, which we have set up as a collective. And the customer just has to bring in their email receipt of the donation. So they could donate £10 or they could donate £20, it's up to them. And that would then get them to enter into the competition to win the prize. Now, instead of it being a sort of like photography prize, so let's say, example, me and Panny go up against each other. We all know Panny's going to win. So instead of it, sorry, Panny, but you will. You beat me every time. But instead of going as a photographic competition, which was done traditionally in the past, it literally would be a prize draw. So on the night or the day of Children in Need, we can have somebody somewhere get all the portrait participants that have gone over the previous few months into a hat, and one of them gets pulled out, wins £500, and then we donate like the big check to Children in Need on behalf of the whole group. So that was my concept, but it probably needs refining.
Sorry, guys, I'm going to duck out. If my meeting's quick, I'll rejoin you if that's all right. Take care.
Yeah,
Bye.
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 So what we're really talking about here is that there are possibilities of doing it in loads of different ways. Now, those that have come in, have done RMG, Pet Portrait Awards, etc. Basically, everything was done for you. All you had to do some marketing and get the people in, and then the prizes and the judging and everything else was all done for you. I think that I personally don't want to get involved in anything on a national basis, organising it all again like I did at RMG, because of lots of different reasons, and I won't bother. I'm not going to do it.
Alan, can I just interrupt you and say Hoss is trying to find the link and he can't find it?
I've just sent him it.
Okay.
So to do it on a national basis, like Carla said, is a good idea. It is a good idea. You all know I think a national one is the best way to do it anyway. But we would need to look at it and think about it. And Carl's idea of coming together as a small group and coming together with a prize is dead easy. But what we can also do is that we can set other promotions up in the meantime. So you could set up, for instance, a pet promotion, raising money for a local charity, or you could link it into the guide dogs that we're already doing. Because Carl's idea of the, what was it, Carl?
Well, Children in Need would
Children
be
in Need,
like
that isn't really going to start pumping up until the end of the summer, which is perfect for Christmas. And also it's great for families. And we hopefully will be able to get families of various different numbers into our studios come the latter part of the summer. So you've got a chance here of putting a couple of promotions together. Will run in different periods of the year so that you can just run one quite strongly for the first 3 months when we're open, and then you can start switching over to the Children in Need. And something that Carl and I brought up yesterday was the fact that if you get linked into the Children in Need, you can go on and buy their marketing packs. They send you all the bunting and various other things, which enables you just to sort of look as though you're a lot more professional in what you're doing, not just raising money for children in need. So again, by being linked into these larger charity organizations, you do get a chance of making yourself look a lot more professional, but also you're as crystal clear and clean to the public in that that's where their money is going. So what ideas or what are you thinking of, or any other questions you've got in relation to that?
I think that you would have, with the children in need, which is I think is a really good idea. I think somebody would have to do some digging as regards to whether they will allow you to link a competition which has a cash prize to a winner related to their charity. Obviously, they're all about raising money for the Children in Need charity, quite rightly. There may be also being, especially as it's basically run by the BBC, there may be rules and regulations about what you are allowed to offer. So I think it's a great idea, but I think there's quite a bit of background work that'll need to be done first. Yeah.
Okay, I've run promotions to raise money for children in need for years. To a year, and each year I just go and purchase marketing material, and I've even purchased a great big one-eyed Judith or whatever it's called. I can't remember what the teddy's called now. But it's really, really good. You know, you photograph the children that come in with a big teddy, they love it. It's all linked to the whole thing and so on. They aren't really worried how you raise the money or what you do on the back of raising the money. They just want more money coming into their charity. And I think if you do it as a group, then you're raising a bigger fund rather than 10 people putting in 100 quid, which is insignificant. A group putting in 1,000 is what Carl was saying. And Carl was also saying that, you know, this Children in Need won't get going until the middle of the end of the summer. So we've got time to refine it and get this really correct and right. But, you know, one of us can contact the BBC and get us to go on TV in our local area and actually hand over that check. And, you know, the kudos of that and the marketing of that for anybody that's involved in it is incredible. So it's just a case of, again, putting our heads together, pardon me, sorry, putting our heads together and working out which we feel is best for us individually. You know, before I always had my hat on best for everybody. Now we've got to look at this as to what's right individually for you and how you want to do it. That's something that, you know, Carl and I and other people that want to be involved can go away and work out the best way of running a Children in Need and then come back to you in a month or so with what we feel is the right way to do it, to be involved into making money, because there's no doubt about it. If you as a local studio can say, we have raised rather than I have raised, it looks so much better for you in the area. Locally, it makes a big difference to you regarding your clients and various different things. And you will find that other charities will pick up on this and start coming to you, you know, to ask if you can be involved in with them. So, you know, you never know where this is going to lead. So I think what we're really trying to say is that promotions involving charities is a really good way of getting people into your studio. You all know the success that RMG was for you in regards to getting people in through the on the back of it being a charity promotion. The difference between anything that RMG did and anything that we would do would be there would be no awards at the end of the year. There would be no real national prizes unless you get together as a group and decide to do something. And that all comes from you all deciding what you want to do. And there would be no prizes given out to the winners of it as regards to large photographs, frame pictures, etc., which at the end of the day is not a big thing. It was just big before because it was something that was never done. But I think what this is all about as much as anything is to say, look, if you want to run 2 or 3 different promotions over a period of year, you can run one for pets, you can run one for babies, and then you can look at doing the Children in Need one, you know, towards the latter end of the year. And what it's doing is it's giving you variety of different promotions to add into anything else that you're already doing. Hi, Andrew, how are you?
And thank you.
Quick apology, Andrew. I'm sorry I never got to you yesterday. I was unbelievably busy yesterday, and then I got quite ill. I'll catch up with you with your idea, which we'll bring to the group another day, if that's all right.
Yes, fine. Yeah.
So any questions?
Yeah, Alan, I think that's a great idea. I was thinking, while you were talking, I'm trying to listen to you. I was also thinking about what Steve had said. And I could see there's a situation where if we've only raised £2,000 or £1,000 with a small group of us, and we're giving away £500 that it might look bad in terms of we're actually not giving the charity very much, and that perhaps we ought to be doing up to £500 or 2.5% of whatever we've done up to £10,000 raised will become that value, and we're hoping that should be £500, may cover. And I'm thinking out loud, haven't thought it through, but I just thought I'd drop it in.
I'll step in here. Yeah, go on, Panny. You say what you were going to say.
Well, I was just wondering, is the big prize at the end the carrot that brings people in? Because I have to be honest, I mean, yes, I did get a few people in through, the pet promotions and everything else, but I'm not sure that big prize at the end was the big draw for the client. I don't know. What's people's opinion?
I agree with Penny. Sorry for being so late, by the way. Totally forgot. Even though I remembered all day, last minute, totally went off my head. The only people who came to us thinking about the prize money didn't actually buy anything. So I would say the rest of them came to give money to charity, have their children or pets photographed, and took something from it.
So what you're saying is, so it would be better to say if you donate to the charity, then you get money off, or you get
a free shoot.
Yeah, free shoot. Yeah.
And if they don't value, because I mean, what we have to offer is actually quite valuable. Especially, I had an interview the other day with Mark Cleghorn, and we were talking about stuff like this. I think this year, and if I was going to be doing promotions, which I should do, I've got to get my head in gear. If I was doing promotions this year, it's got to be on generations, because so many people have lost so many older people. I think we've got to get, and that's the thing we haven't been able to do because of lockdown. Yes, we could do an individual family, but we couldn't get their dads or granddads or aunts or uncles together because we were restricted. Hopefully, with the lifting of that, we should think about celebrating family a bit more. And I don't necessarily, I'm still trying to think of what it is that is going to draw people in. I actually think that being able to get together as a family and cherish people that you haven't lost yet, right, is a really valuable thing.
You're right. I think you're right, Panny, but I also think that they need that little bit of a carrot. And I think that as regards to families, and I agree with you, but I don't know when the restrictions are going to ease enough that you're going to get different people from different families of like 8 or 12 in the studio, hopefully towards the end of the year. And that would link in with something to do with, children in need, because they're going to be doing big things this year, I think, because all the charities are really, I mean, I know how much money the guide dogs are down in the last year in how much money they haven't been given to them. And so the charities are really, really struggling. Now, we all are, let's be honest, it shouldn't just be the charities that are. But I think what we're trying to do here, and I think that's where you're coming from, Panny, is we're trying to find the best way that we can hook people into coming into our studio for sessions. Personally, I think the cash thing is, as Peter brought up just now, it's okay if you have got a large number of people in it that you can do something about. I like what Philip's done on his local basis, and I'll let Philip explain that to you to give you an idea on what he's doing for prizes.
Yeah, well, I'm just doing Marks and Spencer's vouchers. I'm just £100 for the first prize, £75 for the second prize, £25 for the third prize, and that's all I'm offering. Because I came to the conclusion, like Penny was saying, there's two types of people come to the shoot. There's them that want the prize money, or those that want pictures, and those that want to win the prize don't want to buy pictures, so they don't buy anything. You see?
But also by giving vouchers, it's something that everybody can use rather than just a cash thing. And so what you could do, getting onto Carl's idea, was if you wanted as a group to get together and purchase a value of vouchers, and it doesn't matter really who wins it or where it's from, and Marks and Spencer's is going to be close to them to be able to use those vouchers. Although I don't know whether Marks and Spencer's has ventured into Wales yet. Oh, it has. Okay. So there's, you know, there's different things like that. But I think that the general idea really is more about what you feel as an individual studio business owner is going to work for you personally. And that's what I think this is more about, is that the opportunity of, it's dead easy for us to give you access to guide dogs. It's dead easy for us to give you access to the Lullaby Trust, etc. The guide dogs, I know, will come back to us because of RMG, so that money raised will go towards one guide dog, as Judith was saying. And so we've got that as marketing before, which we had, etc., etc., in RMG. But you might find that it's better to do something locally, because a local charity will give you much more marketing potential and share your posts on Facebook to your local area. I like the idea of having a couple of promotions running leading up to one at the end of the year linked in with Children in Need, because I think this year Children in Need is going to be huge. I think there's going to be so much outpouring of people wanting to give to charities that are helping people that are in serious trouble in this country, whether that be financial, illness or whatever. So I can see Children in Need being ramped up this year, and being something that's going to be heavily pushed by the BBC. Now, you know, my idea of guide dogs and various different things and Dogs Trust was jumping on the back of something that we didn't really need to do a lot of marketing for, because it was well known and already pushed. And like the guide dogs were doing a lot of adverts just before Christmas on TV and various different things. So if you were linked to something that's on the TV, you're getting free advertising. That's the pull of a bigger one, but it just needs a little bit more thought. Any more?
On the other hand, what Peter said about sort of whether the charity would mind us giving the £500, they don't know what we've raised. So we could have a £500 prize sitting at the back of it all as a yearly thing.
And that's what I was saying, Hoss, when I did my Children in Need ones, I gave like a frame print, but it's still a value in money. So yeah, they really are only interested in how much money or money that you can send to them. What you've done to get that money isn't really any, I mean, there's a difference in selling cakes or, you know, anything like that people do to raise money for these charities. So us as an organization to a certain degree, or professionals, it doesn't really make any difference.
To taking your point of having multiple promotions, I like Panny's idea of the generations. I think that's really powerful. However, my own experience has been when trying to get families together, it's always, before COVID, was almost impossible. There was always somebody who couldn't make it on the day because they were coming from so many different places. So probably 20% of the families I could get together, 80% of them we would never get a date. I think there will be a real push once that lockdown stops, where people will have the time to be able to do it. But I wonder if that window is short as life gets back to normal and people then become so busy that you then can't get them together. So that probably is one that should be done sooner rather than later.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, I've got 2 points. The first one is an idea that I got from Tracy, where, Hoss, I hope you don't mind us saying this, but
no, that's not
last year, I think it was the year before, Tracy and Hoss were doing a promotion where if you were over 40 or celebrating your 40th birthday, you could get a shoot. I can't remember if you were given a print. So what
Yeah.
I decided to do was, with being 50 last year, I decided to do 50 free shoots for 50 people that were turning 50 last year. I did do quite a few, but the biggest thing is just what Peter's just said, because at 50, you're at that age where you could possibly have children of your own and grandkids, and trying to get your kids and your grandkids together was just an absolute nightmare.
I think that this comes down to the wording for the promotion, and I don't think you'd use the word generation. In other words, you can only come in if it's a
I hadn't.
no, you use the word family more, so that you might be aiming for 10 or 12, but you're more than happy if just a family of 4 or 5 come in.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think, again, that's down to how you market said promotion. But I'm in agreement with you all in the fact that I think family groups are going to be huge when we can actually get those groups into the studio.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alan. My other one, and this is something that I've just set up in the last couple of weeks, is, cut a long story short, 2 years ago, there was a lady came in with her husband, 2 kids, had a photo shoot, bought what they wanted, away they went. In March last year, the husband then rang us to tell us that the lady who'd passed away, unbeknown to me, she had breast cancer and was terminal. The photos that they bought should actually use to make memory books for the 2 girls, which were twins. So he wanted to buy more photographs. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I gave them the images. I just sent them because I was so shocked what he was telling us when he rang us, and I didn't have the heart to charge them for the images. So that got me thinking. So a couple of weeks ago, I contacted a local charity up here called FACT, and we're going to set up a promotion when we all get back together. But the idea is, they have lots of families that go to them where it's either a parent or a child has one of the terminal cancers.
Okay,
And the idea is that they can come into the studio, they'll have a shoot, they'll get 1 10x8 print, there'll be no advertising done on it. If they want to buy extra, they can. If they don't, fair enough. But we've got that charity behind you where they're going to push the studio from within their charity. So if a family comes in, they get the shoot, they get the print, they go home, 9 times out of 10, they're going to say to a family member, oh, we've been there and we've had it done free. And it might just give them the kick to then come up and say, well, can we come into you?
Okay, I've got another line on that. And I've got 2 charities in our area locally that work with families that somebody is going to pass away. And we've provided them with vouchers that they put into every box or every bag of goodies or whatever that go to these families. And we get a lot in for that, because it's a direct way that those families that are going to be obviously split for various different reasons have got a chance to come in and record themselves before that person passes away. But my take on that is that I give something to the charities that they give out, they send out to every family that's involved. So
How do you word that then?
sorry?
How do you word that? Come and have a photograph before you die.
Well, because the people know that somebody in the family is terminally ill.
Yeah.
And so quite often these people find out at least 3 months before they pass away.
No,
Some
I
of them
mean,
are quite open about it as well.
Yeah.
does your leaflet? That was the thing I was talking about, Alan. How you present it on the leaflet, because that's a really hard thing to say.
Oh, one of you is going to die, come in and have a picture before.
See, I haven't gotten to that stage yet. I've put nothing. I've put no literature together on it or nothing. It's just at the talking stage, and we're going to do it, but we haven't figured out yet.
Yeah.
I mean, just put in family portraits and
Yeah.
you know, to remember forever type of thing is just enough, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't think you need to.
It's got to be something about cherished families, hasn't it?
Well, I can't remember the wording I used. I have to dig it out for you, but it is basically just a completely free portrait voucher with a session. And again, we do give a print because it's part of what we're giving to the charity, because people give other things. And to be honest, it's really, well, I hate to say it, but the percentage of the families in our area that are sent these things do actually contact you and come in. Something else that's interesting, which is on Judith's take up, and it's happened to me in the last couple of months, is that this has happened to one of the families that was one of my biggest spenders. And they would come in every year regular as clockwork and spend a lot of money with me as their children were growing up. And unfortunately, the mother has been passed as terminally ill. She's only about 38 or something. But they contacted me and said, look, you know, we got this voucher, but we're always having pictures done. But can we have a large book put together of all the pictures that we've taken and pay you for the book, which is a memory for the kids rather than just one picture? So there's lots and lots of different things that you can do on the back of this if they happen to be one of your clients already. So, yeah, I mean, again, this is just getting the brain going. Can
I just say one other thing, Alan? Sorry, going back to running your own competitions with your own prizes. I said this to Alan the other day. It's no good starting off a competition and only having maybe 10 or 12 entries. You need to commit to the advertising on it, and you need at least a minimum of 30 to 40 entries. And that's not just to make it a worthwhile competition, but also because you're always going to get the people that's going to come into your studio and just want to enter the competition and not buy anything. So you need the volume to also be able to, we'll say, afford the prize money. Sorry, I should have said that before, but forgot. I'm finished.
Without us all talking, let's have some more input from people.
Yeah.
I wasn't here from beginning, so I'm not going to talk much. Just wait and see. I'll catch up probably with Connie.
Okay, I'll go around the board in front of me. Neil, have you got any views?
Well, I do, every 2 or 3 months, I do a Facebook post saying I've got so many X number of vouchers to give out to local charities. And that works really, really well. And I just email them the voucher and I personalize the voucher with the name of the charity on there. And they raffle them off or they auction them, that sort of thing. And I get a steady flow of customers that way, but it's also a good way to build up a relationship with that charity as well.
Yeah.
That works really, really well. I do that every 2 or 3 months. Just, I don't pay for it.
You target the charities, do you, Neil?
Pardon?
You target the actual charities themselves?
No, I just say to people, if you know any charities that need to raise money or, you know, just get in touch and I'll email you a voucher.
Can actually work great, Penny, because...
Pardon?
I was going to say, it can actually work great because I do something similar. I've got a page on the website where I think it's a blog, but it can be churches, community centres, schools.
Yeah.
If you can get into a scouts group
get a lot
or
of
a girl guides group, then you.
I get a lot of them.
Yeah.
You've frozen.
And what happens is from that type of thing, you really get a large feed off from it, and like you will also then get a good link with one particular charity that you might be able to give a lot more vouchers to. You know, and it's targeting charities in lots of different ways, having lots of different promotions running on the back of charities, because the public feel as though they are actually giving something rather than putting it in your own pockets. And at the end of the day, everybody wants is bums on seats to be able to sell.
The good thing about it that we found was that the following year, they all come back and ask again, you gave us vouchers last year, can you give us some vouchers this year?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a fantastic way.
And if you give a charity 5 vouchers, 10 vouchers, they're so grateful that you're supporting them. It's just another way of getting somebody in. It's not costing you anything, but that's the same way as if you'd done a Groupon deal years ago. Groupon were getting the money and you were doing all the work. 9 times out of 10 people from Groupon wouldn't buy any prints anyway. But with these,
Yeah, but going back to Neil's point, that's a good way of finding out all the charities in your area as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's very, very hard to find the charities, because unless you're involved in whatever they're trying to raise money for, you don't know about it. You know, you get contacted by, you know, the family that have lost somebody, or they're trying to raise money to send their child somewhere or something like that, along to other big charities in your area. That is a big one. And I'm not going to say I've always done it, because I do, but if you put that post up 2 or 3 times a month, like Neil said, the response is enormous. And that post on your page gets tremendous traction as well, doesn't it, Neil?
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. It's fantastic. Yep.
Yeah. Right, going around the board. Peter, I'm not going to come to you because you're shrinking all the time here. I can hardly see you now behind that hedgehog. Carl, Carl, we'll come back to you in a minute. Jane, have you got any views? You on? Yeah, go on.
Yeah, sorry. I've got noisy dogs, so I'll stay on mute. Yeah, I've been looking into doing some charity stuff. Linking it into rainbow sessions for dogs rather than rainbow sessions for people. Yeah, we're sort of going off on 2 different tangents at the moment, aren't we?
So is that dogs that have been born during lockdown? Puppies?
Old dogs, end of life session dogs.
End of life?
Yeah, because we're sort of going off on 2 different tangents at the moment, aren't we? One down the charity route and the other one down the, well, it's linked for you, not so much for me, maybe through the vets.
When we come off here, go onto my website, villagephotography.co.uk, go to the blog and go to about October 2017.
Okay.
And have a look. It's called Golden Oldies.
Right.
And that was basically because I had just lost my dog. Being a photographer, I should shoot myself in the head for the amount of photographs I've got with them, because I haven't got that many. And it's all about that, in offering a shoot, I think with a 6x4 print, something like that. But have a look at that. But it's all around losing my dog.
Yeah.
That I get 2, 3, 4 sessions a year from. I just had one just before Christmas, and then the ladies just messaged us yesterday to say the dog's died. But have a look at that, because that's something that I set up. It doesn't bring much in. I should probably advertise it more than I do, but it's just sitting in the blog. But have a look at it the way that I've done it.
I'll have a look. It's not easy to advertise, isn't it?
No, not something like that.
And this is the thing, Jane, is the fact that the more variety of ways you've got of people coming into your studio in different ways, the more chance you've got picking up one fresh session per week, which, you know, in a lot of cases, a lot of people would love, you know, an extra 4 or 5 sessions a month on top of what they're already doing. So, Penny, have you got anything else to add? Okay, you're on mute.
No, I think we've covered pretty much everything.
Philip?
Well, I love the idea of the children in need thing. I think that'll be a real puller with that. It's the in charity at the moment, isn't it? Everybody knows about it. Everybody wants to contribute to it. I think that would really bring clients in that.
So just doing a quick heads up, would you all like, and I'll bring Carl into this because it was his idea, Carl and I to investigate it more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this for children in need?
Yeah.
Yeah. We did, when Children in Need first started, we did 1 year, and we had 80 take up from 2 days. Whereas we did the following year and it was 7.
Yeah.
It was just totally different. But yeah, it's just how people are at the time.
I think the only thing that really needs looking at in it is, if you're going to say to people, donate into the Just Giving page, I think we have to make sure that there's a studio in the area that they live. Because it would be no good, say, somebody from Scotland saying, oh, I want to do that, and they donate the money and then find out there's no studio in their close, like their area.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
well,
also, if
think
somebody donated, how would we find out that they've donated if they don't know whether the nearest studio is in their area?
Okay, I'll work all that out with Carl. Go
Yeah,
on, Carl.
Yeah.
to be honest, I've got an answer to that straight away, really. So we're going to be responsible for obviously promoting it ourselves, because it's not going to be like anybody promoting it for anybody else. So we'll be doing that for ourselves. I said to Alan, it may be an idea to have a Facebook page where, obviously with people's permission, we upload pictures as we go along, and just create like a little bit of a buzz of people's pictures going up into a gallery where people can comment. And that's why I thought having a prize draw at the end of it would just generate like people coming back to view, and then we can announce how much has won. So the prize, like I say, it may not have to be a cash prize. It could just be vouchers or something. I don't think there is an issue with prizes with children in need, because obviously when you do like a school fete and they raise money for children in need, they have prize draws and raffles and all sorts of things. So I think, and as long as the money that gets donated is done completely separately from the prize, is good. And I just think the way we know they have donated, they just bring in their email receipt of their donation. That's it.
The other thing, what we did at the time was they paid us, and then we put that, obviously that we had handed it over, we got a receipt and all of that sort of thing afterwards to every single one of them. The thing with people donating, they need to have some sort of a receipt or some sort of a thing to bring back with them.
Okay, we'll sort all that out if we, when we decide to go for it. Steve, your views?
Before you go, are you trying to
on,
do this internationally? Are you trying to do this nationally or just within the group?
No, just within this group.
Okay. So it's everyone for themselves, right? Really? Okay.
I was going to say a couple of things. I mean, I would agree with Pani, who mentioned earlier on about the prize money isn't necessarily the big pull. And in fact, a lot of people that have been in the past for the RMG type of sessions often say, oh, I know I'm not going to win, but it's just nice to have some pictures done. So, but with regards to a prize, cash prize or whatever kind of prize it is for something linked to children in need, I think there's possibly a problem, and maybe I'm just not thinking this through enough, but there's a problem there in terms of time scale. So I think the majority of people will obviously become aware of children in need. Maybe the BBC start pushing it from a couple of months before. A lot of people will not do anything about that until maybe a week before, on the night, or slightly after. When is the cutoff for them to have to be able to come in, have a session? Do you say, how do you, so is it simply a prize draw? The winning entry is not judging the photographs, but it's just a prize draw in effect. Because if somebody's bought a voucher and then says, but I want a multi-generation picture, but we can't come in until Christmas or into 2022, I'm not going to turn them away. But then on the other hand, I can't say you're no longer eligible to win the prize because it's already been given out.
Steve, I will be honest. I haven't really put my head around this yet. In regards to on a group thing, I know how I did it myself, and Hoss will know how he did it himself.
I think just the donation to children in need, we're saying we are going to give our services. We are going to give you an 8x6 print or 10/8 print or whatever each studio wants to give, and that can be different or it can be the same for every studio. Is probably enough. They want to donate anyway, so they're just getting something a little bit extra. I mean, I'm possibly going to do this with some couple of schools that I go to and do a bit of schools photography, where I'm going to say to them, not for children in need, I'm going to say you can sell a voucher to your parents and that money goes straight to the school funds, and then they can come in for a session, and that's something that can run all year because there's no prize. It's just, so I think it's a great idea to link to that. I just not sure about the prize.
Yeah, and do you know what? I kind of I don't disagree either. I mean, if the hook enough is for raising funds with children in need, it just makes things a lot simpler as well, doesn't it? So I'm not, yeah, absolutely. But I think collectively, raising money as a group, as Alan says, you kind of number one, you raise more money effectively for public perception, but also you just linking into a national fundraising campaign just makes it easier to market.
Definitely.
Well, one of the things that you could do is, and this is just me thinking out loud here, is you're always going to get people that will have a voucher that can't come in straight away for whatever reason. To register your voucher, you could have something like what Carl's got on his website for the vouchers he gives out, where they go onto your website, register the voucher, so we know that they've paid, but then their name, even if they haven't been in for the shoot, can still go in the draw.
Yeah,
I don't see an issue there anyway, because any voucher that you hand out has got a particular date on it, whether that's, the 31st of October or the 31st of March. It doesn't really matter. It's the fact that they've donated and there is a chance for you to get that person to come in. So, Steve, I think that that's not an issue, to be honest. I think, and I'm also in agreement with, I don't think you need to give a prize for children in need either, because I think the whole thing is linked around just raising money for them. But I think that prizes need to come in if you're going to do something for other charities. So, Richard, what do you think?
Before you go on, Alan, I think you need two dates. You need a date for registration and a date for how long the vouchers last for, because you don't want it lasting for 2 years.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Yeah.
Sorry.
Go on, Richard.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had much experience with doing stuff with charities, but I remember we did one and we sold, or I can't remember, we did it through a school and they gave out a lot of the vouchers and we got people to register, but it was like a real nightmare getting them to actually book. I think it was overcomplicated. We were insisting on being a family of 2 generations, whereas if it would probably been better if we'd have let them do what they want, if they just want the kids done or just want the dog done. But I suppose that depends on each studio.
There's no doubt about it. The more simple it is, the better.
But also, sorry.
No, go on. I just want to ask a couple of other people, Morgan, and I'll come to you. Andy, your view?
Yeah. The only other thing I would say, I think it could work better if you match the donation. So if they donated £10, we'd donate £10. I think that will give I think that's much better than having a prize. I think people want to raise money, and that's the whole perspective.
Which is what we did for when we were doing it for the NHS.
And I think that worked really well. I thought that was really
yeah, because it proves that we're giving something as well. It isn't just we're on there on the grab. No, I agree with that one. Horst, I'll pass you a second because you've had a few.
Yeah, no, okay.
I'll just hear what Morag wants to say a minute.
I was just going to say, just making it open to whatever they want, I think is really important. I've had quite a few times when I've run things that sort of aimed at families and people said, well, I haven't got kids, but I'd really like a photo shoot, so it might be the couple with their dog or whatever. It's nice to open it out to everyone.
I agree. And I think all the ideas that have been brought to the table today are brilliant, because it gives us all a little bit more positivity to go away and think that you either want to do it individually or you want to do it as a group. The group ones, I think, are longer running things or something that's coming up in the future, i.e. children in need. And I think we need to get our heads around that to make sure that it's locked safe on all aspects.
And I just see on children on need, I can see, I've got a vision. I can see in somebody's studio the bunting in the children in need colours. I can see a giant teddy bear with a big thing over his eye, and I would like to recommend Alan as the teddy bear. Like a bit of branding that we're going to all use.
That's fine.
You don't need a giant teddy bear. We just really need a little one, and Aslan's little. Perfect.
I was waiting for that, Judith. Right, moving on to some sensible things. But yeah, I don't mind. That doesn't bother me at all. I think more on the case of, look, we've got together here today to get our juices flowing. I think last week when Peter called us all together, we were all low, and we needed some positivity, start pushing forward. I think the biggest thing when Carl and I were talking yesterday was the fact of starting to get your ducks in a row, starting to work out the promotions that you want to run. Go on, Carl.
Yeah, of course, I forgot the most immediate one. In March 19th, I think, we've got Red Nose Day coming up. So, and this is just a promotion that I was going to do myself, but because all the kids are buying red noses, okay? So they've made their donation. So I'm going to get everybody to send in funny pictures of wearing the red noses onto my Facebook page. And I'm just going to pick a winner and lots more winners, you know what I mean? And just some funny pictures, just like a relatively soft promotion, getting the parents, just get people to send in pictures of them wearing the red nose the week of Red Nose Day, just to generate a whole load of leads, give them something to do with their red nose. It's all going to be back at school. God, I hope so. They're going to be back at school.
I've done something similar with that before with World Book Day, where you get the kids to send or the adults to send a picture of their kids in their costume and then pick a winner. Is Red Nose Day every other year or every year?
Every other year.
Every other year. Yeah.
Thing was, I think Sports League was cancelled last year, but Red Nose Day is, I'm just to tell you,
March, isn't it?
March 19th, I think.
I think it's
yeah, 19th of March.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, all I was going to say, I wasn't going to end this, but I know Annie's leaving at 4 and that type of thing, is that have a think about what you want to do. If you want to be involved in something on a slightly larger scale, then come back to me if you want links to Lullaby Trust or Guide Dogs or something like that. If you want to do something individually, then there's other people who can help you that have done those things as well. Oh, okay, Carl, yeah. Carl's put the link to Comet Relief up in the chat box if you want it. So there's lots and lots of different things here that we can get together and use our brains in coming up with ideas. I personally love the generation one, but we really need to think on that, on how we hook people to come in. And I think if we just blast it out there for families and generations, I don't think you're going to get a hook. I think we've got to find something. And I know this has been tried in the whole of the photographic industry forever, is how do we get lots of families into the studio? So, you know, we're not trying to do something new here, but I think if we were to get all our brains together, I'm sure one of us would somehow suddenly come up with, oh my God, that's a golden nugget. Even if it's wording or whatever, of just the way of attracting families into our studios for what we know is going to be good sales. Running promotions all year is good, and starting to work out what you want to run over different periods is good. Towards the end of my time in RMG, I was pushing the fact that I think that people should have been pushing pets for one particular part of the year, children for others and families for others, rather than pushing one all the time, because it gives your local public the chance to see different things that you do. And if you get people into your studio from vouchers, as Neil does, quite often you'll find that they will tell other people about it, and they will come in with their new babies or their dogs or something like that. So really it's just getting out there and starting to do things maybe slightly out of the box as well. You know, those people that maybe do the box sessions, you know, now's a great time to start advertising that as a way of doing family generation pictures, because they don't all have to be in the studio at the same time. Different things like funny. Yeah, okay, Carl. Really good, Carl. Any other comments from people?
Ian looks as if he's just joined.
My apologies for joining late. I took a phone call just before the meeting started, and the phone call was only just finished.
I think it's been really, sorry, I think it's been really useful, Alan. I think one of the things I picked up from the Steve video was that a promotion is multiple things. And one of the things I picked up from this meeting that I knew already is that my sense of humour is perhaps drives my thinking the wrong way. So I find it sometimes difficult to come up with the right words. Whereas Hoss came up with them almost immediately when he said, remember forever, which was a great tagline. And all was in my brain was, you've got a photograph before you die. And I couldn't get rid of that. He passed it.
You say that, Peter. I've got a friend who's done a funeral with the body stuck up onto the Nigerian funeral, where they put the coffin upright and they'll have people standing next to it, so you can be dead too.
That's what the Victorians did.
I did a wedding in Ireland in the year 2000, and the wedding took place with a coffin on the because old Mick wanted to be at the wedding but couldn't make it, so they brought him in the coffin.
It was a bit much like that to dig him back up again, though, wasn't it?
So we all sat there celebrating this wedding, and there was Mick over on the side who had to be there from the village. It was bizarre. It really
They
was
use it as a bar. Put your drinks on it.
So the point I was going to make, sorry, just to bring it back a minute, that we probably will want to be doing similar things, and if we break into small groups to work on some of these rather than do them individually, just to get the shape of it right, and then to a point where it's a skeleton that then can be used by everybody to put their own mark on, might be a good thing to do. And I'm happy to help to try and do that.
Why not?
I've got one for you,
Why
Peter.
not put around everyone's ideas up, and then we'll work out what is good. We can all put it on the Facebook of what we've done, and that way we can copy each other if there is anything needed, and also turn it to our own wordings.
I've got one for Peter.
Go on.
I set something up, 50 bales of hay for the horse charities.
So what was I missed that, Jane?
50 bales of hay.
All right.
I like that.
It never got off the ground, but I want to try it again this year.
Okay.
Because Peter does horses as well. That might be worth thinking
I can
about.
understand that, Jane, because lifting the bale of hay off the ground is flipping heavy.
Oh, we're talking about a giant round bales.
Oh.
Who's whistling?
I don't know. Look, so I think really, I hope you've all found it beneficial. I hope it's given you motivation as much as anything else. You're going to say something, Steve?
No, just all good.
I'm like a compare here. I'm looking at loads of pictures and seeing people raise their hands. I feel like I'm in one of these auctions, you know, I'm going to sell it to somebody if they twitch or something like that. I agree with what Hoss said. Let's put our ideas up on the page. What were we going to say, Carl? Or are you betting?
Just betting.
Raise you, Carl.
I'll wink.
All right, here, I'll tell you what, I've just had a thought.
Sold.
God help us.
Are you ready? Have you ever heard, is it Andy Griffin? He's made a book called People of Thaxted.
Oh, brilliant book, really good.
It's called what?
It's got Andy Griffin, he's an MPA member, and he shot people in their day of work, whatever they do, only in his village, Thaxted, and he's made a book about it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got them doing their job and then doing their pastime, their hobby. And he's made a book about it. Okay. Now, taking pictures of people in your local area and making a book about it is a great way of being part of the community and selling stuff to your local area. And I reckon we're all far enough away from each other to be able to do that. So if we approach, and the thing is, you've got to try and get people that are a little bit more influential in the area, you know, MPs, bankers, people that have been here for a while, people that are established. And if you get in these sort of people and you say to them, I'm doing a shoot of you, you know, as the, I don't know, the town crier is your day job, and then dressing up in fancy dress in the evenings or whatever else you do, is a great way of getting them in. They will buy the pictures and the book will be bought. Now, there are many aspects to that that can be done, but doing a book on a local area, you know, if we've got the get up and go and the gumption to do it, I think that's a real powerful way of doing it. And we've all got the ability of doing pictures to a pretty high standard. Yes, we can, and that, somebody mentioned the Yerburys, I think Judith, you did. What the Yerburys did, they got people, they got the fishmonger, the, you know, all the different trades of the area, the shoemakers and whatever, and they photographed them very, very well. And then they made an exhibition. But if you make a book for the area, of our local, I'm not going to do one of London, but I'll do one of Enfield, the area that I'm in. That is a way of actually getting in there, but it will take a lot of legwork to actually get hold of people, you know.
Also motivation, so much motivation.
The other thing about that is you're part of your local history. You
do become, and you become known where it counts.
Yeah.
In your area.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We need to investigate that a little bit more, I think, because I think that's an ongoing thing, isn't it? Let's be honest.
And you can do one for this decade, for the next decade, or for this year, next year, you know. So I've got my Zoom meeting in 10 minutes, but I thought I'd throw that nugget in right at the end.
I think
Penny, how approximately how many people would make a good book?
Well, my guess would be around about 50.
Yeah.
But I reckon if we got 50 people and we photographed them twice, and maybe we've got their families in, one picture goes in the book that they can buy whatever they want in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a formula that works. Believe me. I know it works.
And you pick your topics and ideas for you locally, don't you?
We can
But
get
each area is unique.
Yeah.
You know, like I live in North London. It's very, very different. I mean, Hoss is only like 15 miles away from me, but he might as well be living in, well, he does. He lives in a village. Okay. And, you know, Alan, you live miles away from me. Carl, you're miles away from me. Each area has got its own unique personality and characteristics, you know, and we pick those people. Maybe some people might think it's a bit of a scam, but it genuinely isn't. We've got to work out a way of approaching people and getting them interested and involved and buying into it. And the more we get, and the thing is, what you need is a couple of big scalps to start off with. If you get a local MP, somebody known in the area, if there's a celeb in the area, and I'm rubbish at that sort of thing, I've got to be honest, but really that's what you've got to do. As soon as you get that, and then all of a sudden, it should start to snowball.
What about the local drug dealers? Is that?
Why not? It's easier than that. What we can do, we can ask Andy to come on and do a chat for us, because he's done a seminar for MPA. He's done a seminar for a London Portrait Group. He can just come up here and tell us what he's done, show us his pictures and things like that, and he's easily answers every question as well.
He sells the book on Amazon.
Yeah.
And from it, he got a fellowship panel. Not that it makes a difference,
that's right.
but the quality of his work was such that it was deserving of that. You know, so if we start thinking in that way, we're not treading on anybody else's toes. We are working, you know, what we can do is you can pool our ideas, so that we can contact people in an effective way. But from there on, it's down to us to make it work. And we're going for the right sort of people. You know, you go in there from the angle that I am creating a piece of history that is going to live on in the annals of my local council. You know, in 200 years' time, theoretically, they could say, "Cool, this is what life was like in 2020 at the pandemic."
I was going to say,
now is the time to do it.
that's exactly what I was about to come up with. If you do it now at the back end of this pandemic, of showing how your area is coping, or people within the area, and there are certain people that would be really good to photograph that have had to work during this pandemic, you know, it does give the book a hell of a lot of credit. Okay, Hoss.
Yeah.
Right, I've got to go.
Yeah.
I'll leave you with that nugget. You can call me later if you want, Alan.
All right, we'll do, Panny. I'm going to ask Hoss to contact Andy Griffin if possible.
Yeah, no problem.
If you can do that, and if you can ask him if he would be prepared to come on and talk to us as a small group, I think it would give those people that feel this might be something they want to do a little bit more knowledge in how to set it up. My quick thing would be the paying of the books and what type of book is used and how much it costs.
It's a hardback. I've got it here. It's a hardback. It's absolutely fabulous.
Right.
When he got it, he sent it to me, and we were at MPA. Penny and I were doing a seminar there, and then I went to Ray Lowe. I said, have you seen this book? I said, if this is not fellowship, I don't know what is. He said, leave it with me, and he got his fellowship. So.
All right, Penny, nice to speak to you, young man.
Penny, Tuesday.
Not so much of the young Alan, come on.
Well, I'm not going to say, I'm not going to call you old, am I?
Tuesday, 2:30, Penny, social media.
Tuesday, 2:30. I'll do my best.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, guys. Thanks for everything.
Bye.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Take care, Penny.
Right. The only thing I will say about the ideas that we come up with in this group is try and keep them within ourselves.
Of course.
I was going to say that, Alan, is if they go onto the Facebook page, is that public or is that just us?
No, it's only us.
Yeah, okay.
It's only us. So any idea that you put up within the group, only group members can see it. Nobody else can see it at all. But what I was meaning more on the fact is, don't necessarily tell your friends outside of the group the things that we're doing until you run a promotion. Let them copy it from there, or else you'll find that if you do start talking, everything will be diluted very quickly, and you know, it won't work as strongly for you as it maybe would have done if you were the first one in your area to come up with it. So that's the only thing I'll say. Right, anything else anybody wants to say?
I was just following on from what Carl showed us and Dib showed us the other week with those vouchers that you're doing for your new studio. That kind of inspired me to try something. I haven't had any results yet, but was to go back over about the last 3 years worth of records, looking at people who'd spent more than whatever I set the limit at. And I got some vouchers printed, which have a value of £100. And I've sent them, I've gone back 3 years. So I've sent out to the first batch for the last 3 years ago. I set up a landing page where they can also scan a QR code and just saying, hope you're still enjoying looking at your pictures. I'm sure lots of people have been to your home and seen them, admired them. Like many businesses, we're going to be looking for new business. People are going to be wanting to get family pictures done. Please, I've enclosed 2 vouchers. Please feel free to give them to friends or relatives that you feel would appreciate the thought. Or if you really wanted to update some of your own pictures, by all means, you can use them for a new session. They can't use them to get pictures from an old session. But it was just your voucher idea that sort of kicked my ass and thought, yeah, maybe you should do something similar. And I really like the idea of the QR code where they can register the voucher and so on.
Do you have much response?
Photographic session.
Yeah, so.
But not for product.
So say again?
Not for product. £100.
the £100 is for a session and product. So essentially it's a session and a 10 by 8.
Okay, cool. Got you.
Although it
much response?
doesn't specifically say that on the voucher, it just says £100 for a photo session, and I can't remember the exact wording. But if somebody came in and said they wanted to spend £1,000, I'd probably give them the whole £100 off, you know, or whatever. But it's flexible to a degree. But essentially, it's for a session and £60 worth of product.
Yeah.
But I've literally only just sent them out the day before yesterday. I'm going to wait and see if I get any response before I maybe reword the letter that's gone with it. But there'll be a delay, because if they're giving them to other people, you've got to wait for them to, you know, be able to pass them on. And obviously at the moment, that's a bit of a problem. I don't know. It just, I mean, the vouchers, I got them through Vistaprint. Fantastic printing they did, and I got them back within 2 days. Amazing.
Okay.
How's yours gone, Carl? Have you had much response to yours?
Yeah, it's kind of like I think the best thing I did was a registration page, because people did use it, and so we've now got, instead of, because these vouchers have just got handed out free of charge. So people have registered the vouchers that they want to use, which has been good. Whereas before I never had that, I was reliant on them ringing up. So that's worked well. But going forwards, and I've done a couple of Facebook promotions, just like little soft posts. I always now link my registration page to, like, if you want to like have a voucher or do this or do that, leave the details here and you've entered. So I've always got people. So whatever I do now, I'm getting people's details, and most importantly, phone number, so I can ring up and book them in. So we're building a nice like list of like clients who, as soon as we can book them in, we can just ring through. So that registration page has made that possible, whereas before it wouldn't have been.
This is something that we have probably all done, but we just need reminding. Or we might have done something similar and it didn't quite work. So something that somebody else does work, i.e. the registration page, is just, you can tag on to the end of other things that you've already done. I think that we've covered nearly everything today, haven't we, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah.
Have you
say, Rex, to Judith's question, name a guide dog?
Oh, if we get enough money, if we get enough people, if we get enough
No, the name's Rex.
Oh.
Sorry, it's supposed to be a joke.
Right.
Right.
Tumbleweed.
It happens sometimes.
Okay, ladies and gents, I'm going to call it an end to it. I think we all need to go away and have a think about everything that's been put on the table today. I'll put a post up regarding Comet Relief, and if you all do want to do something regarding Comet Relief, then I think I'll put a little team together that we can sort of analyze it and go down every line. Carl, myself, and probably another person, because I think it's really good to have 3 views from different areas to come up with and cover every problem. Other things obviously are ongoing, that if you do want to be linked to charities that we're linked in, then they're just giving pages already there for you. If you want help in setting up a promotion, we've got the videos online. Peter's mentioned Mark Swinford's online workshop, which I think is brilliant. Do you agree, Peter?
Yeah.
I think, if you haven't seen it, it is worth going and have a look, because even if you set up promotions on a weekly, monthly basis now, you might learn something totally different from what Mark does. It just suddenly makes that big difference to you. And we can get back together again and talk about different ideas, but maybe cement them a little bit more. And Morag, I think yours is a great idea. I was going to say, Morag.
Yeah, if anyone.
Go on.
So I was just going to say, if anybody's interested in doing it in a similar way, I'm very happy to share in more depth, in a smaller group or whatever, if anyone's up for doing something similar.
It's a bit of a what's the word, like a next step to the baby promotion, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's for me, trying to bring together the whole, you know, the gravity of what we've been through and what we're going through. And it's such a weird time for families where babies have been born, because, you know, it's the biggest celebration of their lives, and yet there's so many letdowns, you know. And I mean, there's also real positives that I think might come out. I want to do it with a accompanying bit of text from each family so that you get a little insight. So I'll ask them a few open questions and then I can choose something from it. But, you know, some of my parents, I've noticed this year, have been saying things like, well, if it wasn't for lockdown, we could have never had this amazing time together. So they've seen something really positive. But, you know, even though their parents maybe haven't seen their grandchild and all of that. So there's something really lovely as well, that I think it might be a real mixture of very positive and very negative stories, but the whole thing will be a celebration of all these new births. So I want to make it quite a, celebratory kind of thing.
Okay, I'm going to say, can you and I get together and put a date together to do a workshop for those that are interested in that? Is that okay? So you can explain everything that you're doing. Hoss, can you have a word with Andy Griffin?
Yeah, no problem.
And find out when he can come on and give us a sort of explain what he's done to the group and our group.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure not everybody would want to do a book of their local area, but there might be a few of us that think it's a brilliant idea.
Well, before Andy started, I always started wanting to do something like that myself anyway. But it's always the get up and go that you need to motivation to contact somebody and keep hassling them to say when can we do it, when can we do it. But listening to Andy will help a lot on that to understand when and how, and also what he said, because at the beginning he gave away pictures, whereas then we realized he shouldn't, and what did he do then? So it's good to find out.
I think the other one is it really cements your position in your local area.
Yeah, the problem there is, I mean, Penny was talking about it like as a money earning thing. And I don't think you will make that sort of money, because firstly, a lot of the people that you're photographing aren't that well known around, and also that they change. For instance, the local mayor or you know, the shop might close and open up, and you photograph the butcher and the butcher is gone, all that sort of thing, because it takes years to do this.
Yeah.
It's not a quick thing, but it's fantastic to listen to, and, you know, ideas taken from.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't look at it as a money thing. I looked at it more as a sort of a legacy thing.
It is.
Really. And I'm sure you'll cover your costs from it, but but I don't think it would be something you'd make a lot of money out of. But you know,
the book he's done is fantastic. I'll do a couple of shots of it and put it on the Facebook.
Okay.
So you can see how it is.
Thanks. And going around again, Carl, you and I get together and do something on children in need.
Yep.
We'll see if we can cover every angle, so that, you know, some of the points that Steve brought up are covered, etc. And I think it's a case of just putting together a few documents, really, with a few guidelines about what you should and shouldn't maybe do if you're going to run a promotion, said linking to you know, children in need or comic relief. I mean, your comic relief one is a very quick one, because you're not actually doing anything. You're asking your clients and your public to put pictures up, and then you just choose a winner. So, you know, that's going to get traction to your Facebook page, which at the moment we're probably all slightly lacking. So, you know, from that angle, I think that's a great one. You know, Philip, I love what you've done anyway, from the page you've put up and that sort of thing, and I hope it really works for you. I think on an ongoing promotion, providing vouchers from a well-known national company is the way to go, because I think it's generic to anybody. So I think that's good. I love what Neil does with sending out the vouchers to charities. Just put a post up on your page. You're in a position to provide vouchers to local charities. If you know anybody, please contact me direct. You know, like Carl, we always make them personalized by putting, the only thing we ask to make sure they're a recognized charity is we ask for them to send their logo to us that we can print on it. So that it's got that sort of little bit of policing, which you all know I'm quite stringent on. rather than just sending it to Fred Blogg's local charity and then those people come in themselves. You have got that little bit of credibility by putting their logo on it.
We don't necessarily say always charities, we say fundraisers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, completely agree with that, Hoss. And it's a great way now of being able to generate some traction to your post, because you're not actually asking for people to come in today. You're offering those charities a chance of raising some money in the future. So everybody happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ian, you're the only one that hasn't said anything.
I missed the meeting.
It has been recorded, so you can go and listen to all the waffling.
I will do. Yeah.
Later on, you can find out why Peter looks so small. It was at the very beginning of the meeting he told us as to why he's suddenly reducing in size.
I thought he just climbed the beanstalk, that was all.
It won't be anywhere near as funny as the Handforth council meeting. This was on the news today.
Oh, is that the one that's gone viral?
Yes.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, but heard about it.
It's worth a watch.
It's brilliant. Love it.
We are in weird times.
No.
We really are in weird times. As per normal, guys, keep together, keep chatting. If there's anything you want to sort of bring to the table, you can contact Judith, myself, or Les, or just bring it straight to the table. That's what this group's all about, helping each other, to be perfectly honest. To get through and survive, etc., etc. So I just want to thank you all for coming on. I want to thank those people that have brought ideas to the table, which I think is every one of you, to be perfectly honest, except Judith. Judith never brings anything to the table.
And Tuesday we've got
social media.
Got the social media thing.
Yeah, but what you haven't added is you've got to be bring a cake along.
I forgot about that. Coffee and cakes.
Yeah. So don't forget, bring a cake
I've got
along.
a couple of ideas of how we can help boost each other's social media as well for that. So
Okay.
yeah, I've got a couple of ideas going on.
Brilliant. Okay, well look, ladies and gents, as per normal, it's been a brilliant meeting. Just want to thank you all for coming along, etc. But I know we're all helping each other. So I'm going to stop the recording now, which means if I stop the recording, I've got to find out how to do it now.